Good morning, Year 6, and welcome to Monday the 14th of December's Reading Comprehension. So today's reading comprehension is an extract from a book called Holes. Now this book we're actually going to read later on this year, so it'll give you a nice little insight as to what it's about. First thing I'd like you to do is read your text, then we're going to have a look at reading some questions and then skimming and scanning, going to that correct part of text to find the answers. And then today we'll be using our text and our ideas to write an answer using point, evidence and explain. So I'm going to give you a little introduction to this. Holes is by Louis Sahar, an American author who has written many books for children, and Holes is one of his most popular ones. Now it tells the story of Stanley, a boy cursed with bad luck. So already we're starting to build a picture of Stanley. He's cursed with bad luck. So how has this bad luck affected him when we read this? That's something to be thinking of. Due to a series of unfortunate events, Stanley finds himself at Camp Green Lake Juvenile Detention Centre. Now, a juvenile detention centre is more or less prison for children, for people under the age of 18. If you commit crimes under the age of 18, you go to a juvenile detention centre. So Stanley, in this story, has found himself in a juvenile detention centre called Camp Green Lake. So what I would like you to do now that I've introduced it for you, is read the rest of this text. It's not very long, but make sure you read it very, very carefully. See if you can spot any clues that tell you this is a little bit like a prison, okay? And how some of the children might be feeling in this text. So pause the video and read all the way through, and we will answer the questions afterwards. Okay, so the first question we're going to look at today, and this will, it's called, do you think campers enjoy the activities at Camp Green Lake? Explain your answer. So the first thing, whenever it says explain your answer, we need to always think of point, evidence, and explain. Okay, so we're going to find an opinion that we think. So yes, they do enjoy activities, no they don't. And then we're going to look for some evidence, and then we're going to explain that evidence and our point together. So we need the structure of that is for the point, it's I think, in the text it says, and this means. So just to give you a bit of a clue there. So now I'm going to go back to the text. Now I'm looking for little clues that tell me that they don't enjoy, well, I think personally that they don't enjoy the activities. That would be my point, so I'll write that first. So I'd go, I think the campers don't enjoy the activities. There we go, it was going to happen. In the text it says, now I'm going to leave that one blank, and now I'm going to go back and have a look through my text. So I'm going to go back to the first bit. Now I might need a few points here. So the first thing that it talks about, okay, on here is campers are forbidden to lie in the hammock. Okay, so a hammock is like a bed that's been stretched between two trees, like it says above. And then this idea, it belongs to the warden. Now if you're going on holiday, like let's say you are going camping, because it talks about campers here, camping's a nice experience, isn't it? You know, camping, you should be able to lie on a hammock, but here campers are forbidden to lie in the hammock because it belongs to the warden. And then it says the warden owns the shade. So there's a little clue that's saying that these people are out in the sun all the time. So then here, we're talking about rattlesnakes and scorpions, finding shade under the rocks, and then this, in the holes dug by the campers. Now the first thing about this is that it says holes, so more than one, and then dug by campers. Well, if you're on holiday going to a camp, you wouldn't expect to just be digging holes, would you? And now further on, it's talking about being bitten by rattlesnakes. And it gets quite interesting here, because it says sometimes a camper will try to be bitten by a scorpion or even a rattlesnake. They will get to spend a day or two recovering in his tent. instead of having to dig holes out on the lake. Sorry about my horrendous highlighting there. Okay, so that's a very, very interesting statement there, isn't it? If you're going on holiday, I mean, would you try and be bitten by something that's poisonous just so you can spend time recovering inside a tent? The other thing is that it's a tent. We know here the warden has a hammock, and he has a log cabin. Where does it say that? I'm sure it says it around here somewhere. Oh yeah, there we go. A log cabin stands beside that. Knew it was there. Oh, gone back too many. And then it talks about being bitten by a yellow spotted lizard. That doesn't really help us with our question. But then this bit, if you get bitten by a yellow spotted lizard, you might as well go into the shade of the oak trees and lie in the hammock. There is nothing anyone can do to you anymore. So that is a rather sinister line, isn't it? It implies that this is not a very nice place to be. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my question, just remind myself, do you think the campers enjoy the activities at Camp Green Lake? Well, I'm going to home in, because I'm on my evidence part now. In the text it says, I'm going to home in on this specific point here. So I'm going to put in the text it says, and then I'm going to put quote marks, sometimes, and this is the bit where I forget what I'm writing, sometimes a camper will try to get bitten by a scorpion or even a rattlesnake. And then I'm going to add a little bit more. It also says holes dug by the campers. Actually, no, I'm going to change that. Or even by a rattlesnake. And it also says, so he can spend a day. Spend a day recovering in his tent rather than digging holes. So now I've got to say what this means. I'm just going to reduce the size of my text because it's enormous and I won't have any space. So I'm going to now say this means, and this is where you have to sort of use your own opinion. So we've said they don't enjoy the activities. We've given our explanation. We've given our evidence from the text, and now we've got to give our explanation. So we're just going to say this means that people would rather risk injury than do the activities in the camp. Now I'm going to change that. I would rather risk injury or even death than do the activities in the camp. Okay? Right, so for this particular text, you've got quite a few answers like this. Explain your answers. Okay, so make sure that you use our structure of point, evidence, and explain. Okay, Year 6, that's all from me. Good luck, and I will see you tomorrow.